Good morning. Alright, well, I've apparently been filming videos but not editing them, so I'm taking a break from editing 4 videos. At the present moment, I'm starting to film the 5th one, so I'll have lots of editing to do. I figure I'd give you guys an idea as to what's going on out here. So as I've said a few times, this is the greenhouse. I'm going to be putting a partial wall in here. Over the Easter weekend, I did a bit of research trying to figure out different ways of heating this without actually paying for an electric heater in here. We are going to run electricity out here, mainly because I want lights. We also, it would give us the option that if we really want to, we can put a small heater out here just to really extend the season at the beginning. And also, it would be nice to be able to have an outdoor plug here to be able to reach more of the rest of the property. We're also going to be running water lines out to here, or like a hose line out to here for the same reason, so that the fire pit, Dan can run a hose from here to there versus trying to get it all the way from the house. But before we get to that, we get to play with this. So this is some of the slab wood that I picked up yesterday. And the general idea of this is, if you can find someone in the area that mills, there's a sawmill of some kind. The guy I got this from is a cedar mill, so he does primarily cedar. And basically that piece would have come off of a log something like this, probably a much bigger log. But last year when I did these, I used a circular saw and then chisels and then a hand planer, and that's how I got this square edge here. But if you use a sawmill, you can just cut them off and you get planks instead of mountains of sawdust. So what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to need to square them up a little, because obviously they're a whole bunch of kind of round half moon ones. But I'm going to square them up enough. They're still going to be kind of bumpy, which is fine, but the top and bottom where they meet will be a flat edge so that I can butt them up to each other. And they'll kind of end up being something like that. The bark, if it falls off as I'm working on it, great. If not, it'll fall off over time, and I'll just, as it weathers, I'll pull it off. You want to make sure you remove bark when you're doing stuff like this with posts that are raw timber, because if you leave the bark on, it promotes it to rot faster. Versus if you remove the bark, you'll have it sit there for quite a long time. These are also cedar posts. The log cabin is made out of cedar posts. We're guessing the log cabin is over 100 years at least. The bark locks in the moisture. The one thing you want to do with timber primarily is get the moisture away from it as fast as possible. So removing the bark removes the moisture problem. Okay, I think this is gonna work. So I'm still not sold on whether or not squaring them up using the circular saw out here or doing some sort of combination with the table saw inside is going to be the best. If I use a circular saw, it's not going to be complete, like they're not going to butt up tight. But since these are all reasonably green, so they're probably going to shrink, I don't think that matters too much, because even if I make them super like furniture grade tight, they're gonna dry out. I mean, you can already see like my cedar posts from last year. They've got some splits in them. Structurally, they're perfectly fine. They're still gonna do what I need them to do. So I'm not worried about that. But all of these boards are gonna shrink. So they're gonna create gaps. What I'll probably do is on the inside, I'll put something inside there. I'm gonna have to dig into this hill because it kind of slopes up. This is the lowest point. I'm gonna go 2 feet high all along this wall, and then I think I decided about 40 inches high on the other 3. But I want this wall lower because this is the south facing side, so this is the most heat I'm going to gain. I was going to make this mini wall even all the way around, but as I said, when I was taking a look at different how to better, more passively heat your greenhouse, obvious passive solar things came up. So, you know, having more glass on the south side, less glass on the north side, having black water tanks inside. The sun will be able to heat up those barrels during the day and then release the heat at night. So hopefully we won't get below freezing. There's a few other things I'm going to do in here that will also help with that. I'm debating about whether or not I'm going to put something right up against here, or if I'm actually going to create a cavity by putting something on this side and create a cavity in here, which maybe filling with some sort of thermal mass, maybe some, I don't want to put concrete in there. Concrete might be good. But in terms of this actual portion of the project, which is building out the wall to about 2 feet all across here, level, so it'll be shorter over there, and then 40 inches around the other 3 sides. I've cut these, and I'm going to continue to cut these at just over 5 feet. I'm going to put some mini posts in the middle, and I'm going to layer these as brickwork. So I don't want all my seams on the post. So basically this one will go from here to the mini post, and then from the mini post to the next mini post, and so on and so forth. The next layer up will go from big post to big post, all the way up in a brickwork kind of style, just to give it some strength. So I'm going to do a few more of these because I don't think anyone else in the house is awake yet. I'm hand making every single post, every single board, piece by piece to fit exactly where it needs to be. Would this be a lot faster if I was to buy lumber? Yes, that is why you can buy pre-milled lumber, because most people don't want to have to do stuff like this, hand make every single board. So this is my board, and similar to how I squared up these posts, I have a straight edge, which happens to be a random piece of 8-foot MDF, but it's straight. So what I did say here is I know the next board that I needs to be 4 5/8, I think is what I need in order to put there. So I put this down where I can get a pretty good clean edge all the way along. I'm kind of marking it out, but I'm also marking a line here so that I can then take my square, line it up on that, and I can give myself a square line here in relation to the line I'm going to be cutting here. I do that, cut it off, and then I can measure the length of the exact piece I need. Come over here, square off of my line if I can find it. There's my line. So I'll measure from that side that I just finished marking. Then I'll put my square here, wherever it needs to be, cut it, and then that way I know this is a section I need to square, and I can potentially use that section somewhere else. Once I'm done cutting it to length, then I'm actually cutting on this straight edge line that I created. And then once that's cut, I move my square, or my straight edge over. Make sure my measurement from my cut line is the same at one end as it is at the other. Means my line at the top is nice and straight. Mark that, cut it, and then I have a board that is squared all the way around.
Budgie, look at mommy. Look at mommy.
It's your own little play tent, Budgie.
Budgie.
Pegs for a tent.
It kept blowing over, or she would stand up and push on one side and it would fall over, and that wasn't working.
Peg installer.
Alright, let's see if we can get some stuff done.
You gonna have fun in the sun? Ish? Shade?
Have fun outside at least.
Did you have a fun day?